Welcome to episode 20 of our holiday of a lifetime. In this video, we travel to Jasper to commence our tour of the Canadian Rockies. Well, hello, I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to episode 20 of our holiday of a lifetime. In this video, we travel to the Canadian Rockies.
Yes, we're here.
And explore the Jasper National Park. Look, we are cognizant that after our visit in May 24, there was a huge destructive forest fire that wiped out around 50% of Jasper's buildings and 33,000 hectares of the national park. A video is before these fires, but we have included some footage of the devastation at the end.
Yes, and we had a very early start with a taxi picking us up from the Sandman Hotel in Vancouver.
Very early.
And it dropped us off at the airport because we were flying to Edmonton. It was a quick 1.5 hour flight, flying over the Rockies, and the snow-capped mountains were very visible and beautiful, and it gave us a taste of what we were going to see.
I know, we're starting to get very excited.
Yes.
There are several ways to travel to the Rockies from Vancouver, the most popular being the Rocky Mountaineer.
Yes.
But it's also the most expensive. And a cheap alternative rail option is via the VIA rail train that runs non-stop through the day and night.
Yes, that's another one, where the Rocky Mountaineer actually stops overnight, and you disembark and go and stay in a hotel and then board it the next day.
That's right, and the other train you just stay on.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. A third budget option is to fly to Edmonton and take the coach directly to Jasper, which that's the method that we chose.
Yes.
And I'd just like to say that if you're wanting to go to the Rockies, but you're a little bit unsure about the price of the Rocky Mountaineer, because it is very expensive. Look, please think about the coach, because it worked just as well.
Yeah, it did for us.
It was great, exactly. And the distance from Edmonton to Jasper by road is only 367 kilometres, and it takes about 4 hours.
Yeah, that's right. And we went through a tour group called Sundog Tours, and the coach arrived precisely on time to collect us at the airport, and then we drove westward along Highway 16, passing through some charming towns, which we actually stopped at a couple, and lush forests and wide open prairies. And those stops that we did have were at Edston and Hinton.
That's right. They stopped there just to for refreshments.
Yeah, we have refreshments, toilet breaks and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And look, as we approached Jasper National Park, the scenery transformed into some majestic mountains. The lakes, crystal clear lakes they were, and we actually started to see some wildlife, which we were really looking forward to.
Did. It was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was coming in there. Amazing. That was one of those wow moments.
Anyway, we arrived at Jasper about 8:30 that night, and our accommodation was at the Jasper Inn and Suites. Now, they were lovely, weren't they?
They were good.
It was very nice, sort of bit dormitory type.
They're dormitory type
accommodation, but look, it was fantastic.
Very functional and comfortable. And
that's right, we have no complaints. It was very comfortable.
None whatsoever. And there was a restaurant on site called Inn Grill, and which was still open, thank goodness, when we arrived.
It was starting.
Yeah, well, as I said, we were 8:30 or something like that. But it was still open. So anyway, we were able to have a really hearty dinner. It was beautiful. I remember watching the ice hockey on the telly in there. In fact, it was so good that we actually chose to have all our meals there.
Well, we did, because it was close to where we're staying, and it was
very convenient.
Yeah.
The next morning, we had a beautiful cooked breakfast again in the grill, the Inn Grill, where they had breakfast.
It was like a buffet style breakfast.
Yeah, it was beautiful, hot breakfast.
Yes.
And because we had a 5-hour tour booked with Brewster sightseeing to explore Jasper, which is the largest national park in the Canadian Rockies.
The bus picked us up at 8:30 a.m, which was a very luxurious coach, and it came complete with onboard toilet. It was a funny little story to the toilet. The bus driver was saying that please feel free to use the toilet whenever you need to, but men, you must sit at all times. There's to be no standing.
And I found that out because I went to the toilet while the bus was in motion, and there was absolutely no way you could possibly stand and you'd be covered in it.
Anyway, our first stop was the Jasper Park Lake and Lodge. This is an expensive place to stay.
Yeah, well, it's a Fairmont
Being
Lodge,
a
so
Fairmont,
which are well known for the experience. And how much were the rooms?
Oh, they started, a very basic room starts from $300 Canadian per night.
Yep.
And rising up to over $1,000 for the more luxurious suites.
Wow.
But the view of this lake is stunning.
Oh, it certainly is.
This was the most picture perfect lake and resort. It was just beautiful, wasn't it?
Oh, just beautiful. Yeah,
yes.
as you can see, panning over the whole area.
It was amazing, that place, honestly. Anyway, this location we sighted a coyote, which by all accounts is quite rare.
Yeah, well, the bus driver said that. He actually said it's rare to see coyote sightings.
That's right, and we actually saw one, and quite close too.
It
was
was
incredible. And plus deer and elk. And this is a great start to this tour.
Oh yes, again, just seeing that wildlife. That's what we came here for.
Yeah. So we know we're going to be in for a treat.
I reckon. We then made our way to Medicine Lake. And this lake has been an object of mystery and Indian legend for absolute ages. And that's because it's due to its unusual geology. The lake actually sometimes disappears in autumn and winter. In summer, it looks like any other lake being fed by the melting ice from the nearby mountains. But as soon as autumn comes, the water actually begins to drain into sinkholes and in a cave system below the surface.
So I was saying it's just like someone's pulled the plug of a bucket.
That's right.
It just drains away.
And the lake water actually travels through the caves and resurfaces some 16 kilometres downstream in Malign River.
That's right. Oh, that was really fascinating actually, as the coach driver was explaining this river to us, lake, sorry, and we're like, oh my goodness, anyway.
Yeah, it's a fantastic sight.
Our next destination was the Malign Lake, and that's fed by the glaciers of the Jasper National Park. And most of that lake was still frozen.
Oh, no, it was cold up there. There was snow everywhere as well too. So.
That's right. And apparently at its deepest point, this lake reaches the depth of 97 metres.
Which is pretty deep.
Quite deep,
Yeah.
That's right. The famed Malign boathouse was built in the early 1900s, and it was a pretty little place, wasn't it, the boathouse? We,
beautiful.
We were able to walk around it and we took many photos, which was lovely.
Well, there was nobody there either, was there?
Well, that's right, there was no, just our bus load of people.
Yeah.
And, but apparently it gets very, very busy in the peak tourist time.
Oh, it does,
Doesn't
because
it?
it's a famed tourist attraction.
That's right. But unfortunately, gosh, this surrounding forest was severely damaged in the fire. But luckily, the boathouse was not damaged, thank goodness.
Yeah, that was right, because that boathouse is an historic building and quite well featured.
That's right, and it's a bit of a tourist attraction too.
En route to our next stop, we sighted a moose in the distance, which was a bit fun. We've got a little photo of it. I don't think you can really make it out that well, but
no, it's a bit far away.
But more thrilling was that we came across a black bear sleeping in a tree. So that was very exciting, wasn't it?
That was. Oh, that was really exciting for us, wasn't it? And because we were quite close, really.
That's
I know
right.
we're in the bus, but you know, it was still just there. And it's fast asleep it was, dear little thing.
Yeah, well, actually see a bear in the wilderness is something you would never thought we would get to experience.
That's right.
We then arrived at Malign Canyon, and this is a very popular area, and it's for hiking with many trails there. And the canyon is 2 metres wide and 50 metres deep. The limestone from which the canyon is carved from is thought to be over 365 million
years old. I know, and they're saying it makes it even older than the dinosaurs.
The river was flowing quite swiftly through the canyon, as you'll see on the video. However, a guide actually told us that 2 weeks earlier, the river was actually totally frozen.
I know, and the power of this water coming out, you know, how
never
could that
thought,
be frozen?
That's right. Again, unfortunately, this area was severely damaged in the bushfires, and the whole place is currently closed.
That's right. Look, if ever you're able to get to Jasper and the Rockies, please make sure you put this on your list. The Malign Canyon, it is beautiful. And there's so many things to do. You can go bushwalking.
Yeah, lots and lots of trails and everything. So.
That's right, and lots of sightseeing. And it's really beautiful, isn't it?
Included in the tour was an absolutely delicious buffet lunch, in which we certainly took full advantage of the many options available.
That's right. Well, we were getting quite hungry.
We were.
We got up early.
And after lunch, then to conclude the actual tour, we stopped at the Pyramid Lake to view another beautiful spot.
This tour and scenery was absolutely breathtaking. And look, selfishly speaking, we were very lucky to experience this wonderful landscape before the total fire devastation.
Yeah, that's right.
And look, we have read that it could take more than a century for the freshly burnt forest in Jasper National Park to regenerate itself into its previous postcard perfect form.
Oh, that's right. It's tragic.
No, it's terrible.
Back in downtown Jasper after the tour,
Yes.
we spent the afternoon strolling around that place, which is so picturesque against the backdrop of many snow-capped mountains. And of course, this town has got many bars, restaurants, and of course,
souvenir shops.
Souvenir shops everywhere, of course.
That's right. They're everywhere too. We visited Jasper railway station, which is the end of the line for the famous Rocky Mountaineer train journey from Vancouver. So that was exciting to see that.
It was.
And speaking of trains, there were numerous freight trains that were operating frequently. Some of these freight trains span up to 4 kilometres, and it can take some 20 minutes sitting in a car at a crossing waiting for the train to pass.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'll tell you what, Jasper, if nothing else, is a train spotter's
dream.
They're just trains everywhere. They're all moving and everything.
Just come go all the time.
All the time. This was just a marvellous day and a fantastic way to commemorate our time in the National Park. As we said, we've been very fortunate to visit Jasper prior to those tragic fires in July 24. And courtesy of Parks Canada, we have some drone footage of Jasper a couple of months after the devastation. And the Jasper wildfire destroyed 358 buildings and forced the evacuation of the town's population of about 20,000 visitors from Jasper National Park.
As we film, Jasper is now committed to rebuilding the town, and many attractions in Jasper National Park have reopened.
That's right, they have.
Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you our further adventures in the Canadian Rockies.
And yes, and we'll see
you again in the next video.
We shall. We hope you enjoyed episode 20 of our trip of a lifetime. In our next video, we travel to Banff and take in some of the marvellous attractions that make up the Canadian Rockies.